Have you ever felt like something inside of you is screaming to come out? A force, an energy that seems to be waiting for the right moment to manifest? Often, this feeling comes from our unconscious, urging us to reconnect with a more authentic version of ourselves. Inside each of us is a powerful and sacred energy, often called the inner girl or inner child. This energy is the pure, authentic essence of who we are before the external influences and limitations imposed by the world. It is full of creativity, joy, curiosity, and freedom. Stay with me until the end to discover how to liberate your sacred energy and transform your life. When you reconnect with this inner force, it begins to guide every step, bringing a new perspective on life. The inner girl is the purest and most free version of you, the one that still carries dreams, passions, and the true essence of who you are. Even though throughout life we may have learned to hide her, this part of us is still alive and waiting to be set free. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, brought a profound and transformative concept about the inner child. For Jung, the inner child is not just a phase of life, but an essential part of our unconscious, waiting to be freed and integrated into our being. He believed that this child is a source of wisdom, creativity, and authenticity, and that by reconnecting with it, we can achieve deep healing and true personal transformation. Jung reminds us that this child is not something from the past, but a vital energy present within us, waiting to be recognized and embraced. When we stop to reflect on our childhoods, we can realize how life before worries, responsibilities, and external expectations was lighter and full of curiosity. Often, in childhood, we were more spontaneous, more joyful, and more confident in what we wanted and felt. This purer version of ourselves is still there, deep inside, waiting to be rediscovered. However, over the years, due to the demands of adult life and emotional challenges, this child was overshadowed, set aside, and often repressed. Jung suggests that reclaiming this inner child doesn't mean going back to the past, but integrating its essential qualities into our present. The liberation of the inner child is a journey of self-discovery and reconciliation. Often, throughout our lives, we create a facade, a persona that we believe is necessary to deal with the world, but this persona often distances us from our true essence. Jung teaches us that it is crucial to recognize that, although adult life demands that we play certain roles and fulfill responsibilities, we must also make space for our inner child to express itself. This child doesn't need to be hidden or rejected. It is part of who we are and holds a transformative power that can illuminate our lives in surprising ways. We must then reflect on what we are leaving behind by ignoring this part of ourselves. What are we losing by not listening to this inner voice that knows what we truly need? When we neglect our inner child, we lose connection with spontaneity, with the ability to marvel at the small things in life, and with the joy of simply being. Jung emphasized that the inner child is a key to our authenticity and happiness. Without it, our lives can become a mechanical and soulless cycle, disconnected from our true passions and desires. Releasing our inner child is not a simple process, but it is undoubtedly one of the deepest paths to personal transformation. It requires the courage to face the parts of ourselves that have been hidden or rejected, to look at the wounds of the past, and to allow healing to take place. It requires a movement of acceptance and unconditional love for ourselves. Jung reminds us that by embracing our inner child, we are, in fact, embracing our deepest truth and allowing ourselves to live more fully and authentically. The release of this sacred energy brings a sense of freedom, creativity, and connection that can change our lives forever. Sacred energy is the vital force that resides within each of us, often associated with our true self, our purest and most authentic essence. When we are in harmony with this energy, our lives flow more naturally and are aligned with our deepest desires. This energy is not something external, but an internal presence that guides us, inspires us, and connects us with the true freedom of being. It arises when we are at peace with ourselves, when we set aside social masks and the limitations imposed by others, and allow ourselves to be genuine in our expression. In our quest for authenticity, sacred energy manifests in various ways. It can be perceived as moments of clarity and courage, when we make decisions that truly reflect who we are, without fear of judgment or disapproval from others. We remember, for example, moments when we felt an inexplicable force guiding us, as if everything around us was aligned for us to take a step toward our purpose. These moments are the manifestation of our sacred energy, moments of deep connection with our true essence. When we open ourselves to this energy, we are able to overcome obstacles more easily and find creative solutions to the challenges that arise. Jung, when speaking about the concept of the self, explains that the true self is a state of integration between all aspects of our personality, including both our shadow and our light. The self is the sum of everything we are, including the parts that we sometimes avoid or do not accept. Sacred energy flows when we accept who we truly are, including our imperfections, and when we seek to live in accordance with our inner truth. It is not about being perfect, but about being authentic, in tune with our deepest essence. For Jung, this process of individuation, which is the path to becoming who we truly are, is only possible when we connect with our sacred energy. Releasing this sacred energy is essential for living fully and truly. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, our self-esteem grows, as we begin to realize that we are valuable exactly as we are, without needing external validation. This freedom to be brings a sense of lightness and fullness, as if we are finally in our rightful place in the world. Our energy flows freely, and this is reflected in all aspects of our lives. In our relationships, in our work, and even in our daily choices. Releasing our sacred energy also makes us more creative, more compassionate, and more connected with others, because we are operating from a place of truth and authenticity. The process of reconnecting with this energy doesn't happen overnight, but it is a path that requires self-awareness, patience, and, above all, courage. It involves confronting fears, letting go of limiting beliefs, and allowing yourself to be who you truly are, without filters or masks. Sacred energy is within you, waiting to be accessed. It is the source of a fuller, more authentic, and more connected life. By allowing this energy to flow, you not only transform your own life, but also positively influence the world around you. The shadow, as Carl Jung teaches us, is a part of ourselves that we often avoid or reject, but it is fundamental to our process of self-awareness and healing. It represents everything that we cannot or do not want to accept within ourselves, whether it is our fears, weaknesses, traumas, or aspects of our personality that we consider undesirable. Facing the shadow does not mean eliminating these parts of us, but integrating them in a healthy way, recognizing that they are part of the totality of our being. The shadow is an ally that, when understood and accepted, brings transformative power and a greater understanding of who we truly are. It is important to reflect on how past experiences, especially those related to trauma or rejection, shape our shadow. Often, we carry within us feelings of guilt, anger, or fear that we cannot process properly, and these feelings accumulate in our unconscious. The shadow then becomes a reflection of everything we have denied or feared. Ignoring or running away from the shadow can cause us great suffering, as these repressed energies continue to influence our choices and behaviors in disguised ways. Instead of being lived consciously, they manifest in impulsive reactions, negative patterns, and even physical illnesses. Confronting the shadow is a courageous journey that requires the willingness to face our darkest and, often, most painful parts. It is a process of peeling away layers of defenses and escape mechanisms that we have created throughout our lives, and allowing ourselves to look at what we have been avoiding. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that doesn't belong to me? This question is an invitation to examine what is still trapped inside us but no longer serves us. Recognizing and releasing these energies can be a challenging process, but it is also liberating. By doing so, we begin to access a source of strength that until then was hidden. Integrating the shadow is essential to our personal and spiritual growth. By accepting it, we can release an enormous emotional burden that would otherwise remain stored in our unconscious, controlling us without us realizing it. The shadow is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced with love and compassion. When we are able to look at our darkest aspects with an understanding and accepting eye, we begin to free ourselves from the shackles of the past and live in a lighter and more authentic way. The shadow teaches us to be more complete, to recognize our flaws without judging ourselves, and to see the beauty in the process of becoming more whole human beings. The journey of confronting the shadow is also directly related to our ability to forgive ourselves and others. Often, the shadow carries wounds from the past that need healing, and accepting these wounds is the first step toward transformation. This does not mean that we must resign ourselves or settle for suffering, but rather that we must look at it from a new perspective. When we integrate our shadow, we become more whole, more authentic, and more capable of living a full life without the shackles of fear or guilt. Therefore, releasing the shadow is a path to emotional and spiritual freedom, allowing us to live with more courage, compassion, and acceptance. The connection with our inner child is deeply linked to self-love. When we reconnect with this part of ourselves, we begin to access a source of unconditional acceptance, care, and affection that, often, was denied to us during childhood or throughout adult life. The inner child represents that pure and authentic part of us, before external influences and the world's criticisms shaped us in ways that distanced us from who we truly are. By embracing our inner child, we allow self-love to blossom, because we are accepting and loving ourselves in the most genuine way possible, without judgment or conditions. The inner child carries within it a deep wisdom, often overshadowed by the struggles of adult life. It is the part of us that knows what we need to be happy, even before being conditioned by societal standards. When we listen to it and allow it to manifest, we get closer to a more true and authentic version of ourselves. This doesn't mean, of course, returning to childhood or ignoring responsibilities, but rather allowing the more innocent and sincere perspective of the inner child to guide us toward what is essential in our journey. This reconnection allows us to rediscover our passions, the simple pleasures of life, and even the trust in our ability to achieve our goals. A practical exercise to reconnect with the inner child is to recall happy moments from your childhood. Ask yourself, what are the happiest memories I have? What did I love doing when I was a child? This can be a simple and effective way to start listening to what your inner child has to tell you. Often, revisiting these memories helps us realize the deeper desires that are still alive within us and deserve to be nurtured and cultivated. If you love drawing, dancing, playing outside, or any other activity, perhaps it's time to bring those moments back into your life. The inner child teaches us that happiness is often found in simple things and the small joys of daily life. By accepting and embracing our inner child, we also begin to release the internal criticism that sabotages us so often. We are frequently our own harshest critics, judging our actions, choices, and even our appearance. But by treating our inner child with affection and compassion, we learn to forgive ourselves, accept our imperfections, and see that we are worthy of love. This acceptance process is a fundamental step toward cultivating self-love, as it frees us from the need for external validation. When we are able to look at ourselves through the loving eyes of our inner child, we allow our self-esteem to grow genuinely, without comparisons or pressures. Self-love is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves, and it begins with the unconditional acceptance of who we are. By embracing our inner child, we allow ourselves to live a fuller and more satisfying life. This doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it makes us stronger in the face of challenges, because we know we have within us an unwavering source of love and support. By cultivating self-love, we become more capable of loving others more deeply and truly, because only when we genuinely love ourselves can we share that love with the world. The inner child is the key to this transformation, and by nurturing this connection, our lives become richer, more authentic, and filled with gratitude and joy. Throughout our journey of self-awareness and growth, reconnecting with our inner child and releasing our sacred energy are crucial steps toward achieving a full and authentic life. When we allow ourselves to be who we truly are, without the masks the world insists on putting on us, we create space for deep transformation. This transformation is not only external but internal. Change begins within us, in the way we see ourselves, accept ourselves, and love ourselves. By releasing our purest energy and embracing our authenticity, we begin to live in a way that is more aligned with our values, passions, and purpose. True authenticity is liberating. It allows us to live free from the constraints of others' expectations without the constant fear of being judged or rejected. When we live authentically, our energy flows freely, and as a result, our relationships become more genuine, our decisions clearer, and our path more secure. Authenticity is what connects us to our true selves, and it is through it that we can achieve inner peace, confidence, and true happiness. It is not about pleasing others or following imposed standards, but about being true to ourselves, regardless of the circumstances. By freeing our inner child and integrating our shadow, we are taking essential steps to live in a more complete and balanced way. The self-love that arises from this acceptance strengthens us to face life's challenges with more courage and compassion. When we accept our imperfections and recognize our capacity for transformation, we are able to see the world with new eyes, with more gratitude, more love, and more lightness. The transformation process is not a straight line, and it is not always easy, but it is deeply rewarding. Every step we take toward authenticity brings us closer to the life we truly want to live. The transformation journey we are discussing here is not something that happens overnight, but rather a continuous process of growth and evolution. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, we become agents of change in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Transformation starts within us and expands outward into the world. As we become more authentic, more integrated with our true essence, we create a positive impact in all aspects of our life. Our actions, words, and attitudes become more aligned with what is truly important to us, and our presence in the world becomes more meaningful. Now, as you reflect on everything we've discussed, I invite you to take a moment and ask yourself, what am I ready to let go of? What am I ready to release so that my inner child can flourish? This is the first step toward real transformation. True freedom comes from authenticity. Free yourself from expectations, internal criticism, and limitations you have created for yourself. Live according to your truth and open yourself to the power of authenticity. And if you feel you need deeper support on this journey, don't hesitate to join our members area, where we offer exclusive content and a safe space for self-awareness and transformation. If this message has touched your heart and you're ready to take the next step, share this video with someone who may also benefit from these ideas. Leave a comment below about what you're ready to let go of and how you plan to release your inner child. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to receive more transformative content like this.